Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this really nice gift nail file holder. So with Christmas coming up, this is a really nice stocking filler idea. I can't claim to have designed it myself. There were many people on Pinterest that have done this design, so I think I followed Jambi's actual tutorial, but I know that a lot of people have made this. But it's quite a simple thing to make, and it's quite effective to sort of jazz up something that's quite simple in terms of being a nail file. So it's a really nice little gift. So what are we going to use? Okay, so I'm going to be using the Joyful Flurry sentiment Happy Christmas here from this Joyful Flurry set, and I'm doing another project that will be using these stamps in more detail later. And then I'm going to be using the dies, which is the frosted flurry dies that go with it. And the two that I'm going to use from this is, it really handily comes with two nice shapes that you can use to cut out your sentiments. So I'm going to be using the smaller of those. Oh, if I can get hold of it, come on. And then I'm going to be using sort of like the medium size snowflake. And I want to show you a technique here, so that this is a die that doesn't fully come out of the cut paper. It's like these, where they sort of like leave some areas attached so that it gives a pop-up effect, and this one does. But I'm going to show you how to convert this into a piece that you can completely take out to add on to these here. So that's what I'm going to show you on here. If you don't want to bother with that, there's two smaller ones that come in these dies. This die set, these two here, these do fully come out anyway. So it's just that I prefer the size of this. The smaller one gets a little bit lost. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. So that's what I shall be doing in a minute. So what do you need? So you need one piece of card that measures 1 3/4 of an inch by 11 inches. So if I just move those here. So I'm going to do this in a slightly different colourway. So I'm going to do this in Tahitian Tide colour, because it matches my emery board that I'm going to be using. So that measures 1 3/4 of an inch by 11 inches, and you want to score it at 7 1/4 inches and 7 1/2 inches. Okay, that's going to become this little pocket here. Okay, then you want a piece of DSP. Now I'm using this gorgeous vellum. Let me show you this. I'm only using a small piece on this project, but this is the vellum. So this is called Snowflake Speciality Vellum, and this, I don't know if you can see, but the white is flocked. So you've got a snowflake one, you've got like a snow falling one, so those two are flocked, and then the silver ones are like holographic silver. I hope that the light's catching that. So again, you get a couple of snowflake ones. Oh, I sneeze. Oh, excuse me. And some, oh yeah, so 2 lots of snowflakes, and this snow one again. But this paper is just gorgeous. What you can do, if I just take that piece as an example, this is one of those DSPs that's going to do all the work for you. You just put it in front of a different coloured card, and you can just place that on there, and that is your detail. You can put a sentiment. You could maybe cut out one snowflake or a couple of snowflakes just to add some detail, and that is a card done. So that's going to be really easy to use. Okay, so for this project you need one piece of DSP, which measures 1 5/8 by 2 inches. And then you want some white for sentiment for here, and you want a bit more of the coloured card for the snowflake. Okay, so let me put those out of the way. So the first thing you want to do is fold your 2 score lines like that, so it becomes a little pocket like that. Okay. And what I've done on mine is I've rounded the edges. I've rounded the edges here, and I've rounded the edges here. And I also need to do these notches. Now, I know it's not available anymore, but I'm using the envelope puncher, which is just really good for this. But if you have you know, something that rounds corners, a punch or something that rounds corners, or even using a round a circle die or something to take the edges off, you could do that. And if you don't have this to do the notches in, what you could just do is literally cut triangles out. If I just work out roughly, so you want to measure, and the center of your diamond, triangle to cut out measures about 4.5 inches. So that just tells you, and then that probably comes in about 1/2 inch. So that tells you how far in. You just want to make sure you've got enough space. It needs to be wide enough for your emery board. So you could just literally take little triangular snips out of there if you haven't got something to do this. Okay, so I'm going to put my piece of, first of all I'm going to tap around the edges, so on the outside section of this. I do apologise, I hope this is coming out okay, because it's a really horrible, miserable grey day here. And I'm also going to do the same on my vellum. Okay, so that's got my rounded edges. So now I'm going to make the notches. So I'm going to place it into my envelope puncher. I'm going to put it up to 4.5 inches. I'm going to make sure that this section here is stood up like this. I'm going to make sure that everything is pushed against this side, all of this is straight, and then I'm going to punch it out. Okay, I'm going to turn it over again, 4.5 inches, and then you want to make sure that this matches up, so you can just put your fingers in there and just make sure that it's all lined up again. So for example, if it's like this, you can see that it's overlapped. I'm just going to put my fingers in here just to make it all line up. You're not going to notice if it's not quite lined up. You can have some ribbon around it, but this gives you the idea. Okay, so that's everything we need the punch board for. Okay, so next thing we can do is do our sentiment, and we're going to do our snowflake. So like I said, I'm using this Happy Christmas sentiment. It's quite a nice small sentiment actually, but it's really nice and crisp and clear. So I'm going to do, so I've got pink in this, so I'm going to do polished pink as my accents. I'm going to use it for the ribbon, I'm going to use it for the sentiment, just to pick out that colour, just to make it a bit different. So you need to make sure your die is going to be like that. So you want to make sure you don't sort of do it too close in the corner. You want to give yourself plenty of space to be able to die cut that out. Okay, so let's get our die cutting machine. Okay, and I'm going to try and be adventurous. I'm going to try and do my sentiment. So you just want to centre that. That looks about right. I'm also going to do my star as well. I'm calling it a star. It's not a star, it's a snowflake. Right, so I'm hopefully going to put that on so it doesn't move. Okay, so I've got my sentiment there. And then I've got my star. No, it's not a star, it's still a snowflake. And I'll explain to you what we're going to do next here then. So, as I said before, this is like a partial cut. So this is quite nice. If, like I said, the other project I do, we use these partial dies, so that you've got a really nice sort of 3D, and you can sort of push these up and it's really nice, and you can reveal a different colour underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can turn this into something that is a freestanding die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up each of these in between, not quite to the top, and I'm just going to do like a little triangle. And what it does is it actually leaves like a little extra bit of a snowflake there. So this is just, so these are only attached right in the middle. Don't try and bend the snowflake parts, before you cut it out, because it makes them quite weak here where they meet. So try and keep it flat until you've done this piece of cutting. Hasn't quite gone how I want it. There you go. So you just got each of these, like I said, not quite going up to where they join. Let me just, it's easier to work with a smaller piece. So as you can see, not quite going up, and then you can feel when it meets the pieces already cut. And then they should just come away. So then you can see you've got the detail in the middle that makes it look like. I'm just going to cut that. There you go. So there we have a snowflake that we can actually use on our design. And we've got our sentiment, so now it just is a case of assembling it all. So keep it this way up, because then you know that that's where the rounded edges need to be at the top. And also, if it's directional paper you're using, if you're not using this paper, you want to make sure that it's that way up. So I'm just going to put some glue, and I'm just using some double-sided glue tape. You don't see the glue behind this vellum, so it works really well. Okay, and it sticks really well as well. And then we're going to put our sentiment on. Now, because the sentiment actually overhangs, don't put glue all the way over, otherwise you're going to end up with sticky bits. So just one piece of glue in the middle. When you put something on top of the vellum, because you've got this design here, you just need to make sure you give it a really good press. It will stick, but you just need to make sure you give it a really good press. And then what I've done on mine is I've just put a little piece of double-sided foam pad on the back of the snowflake. Just a tiny piece in the middle. It's quite small, so it can be quite fiddly. You don't have to do that, you could just stick it straight on, but I just like to give it a 3D dimension when I can. I'll just take the protective bit off, and then I'm just going to place it on there. Give that a press down, that sticks nice, and I just have it sort of slightly overhanging that. Okay, so then the final bit to do is the ribbon. So place your emery board in before you do this, because it just allows you to then pull it tight enough to keep the emery board in place. So again, I'm using the polished pink, and I'm using the open weave ribbon here, which is really nice ribbon, and you want about 10 inches of this, so that's about 10 inches there. So I'm just going to place that under there. I'll just pull it as tight as you can. Okay, I'm just going to trim the excess off. You can play around with it to make it. There you go. There you have. And that keeps it quite tight in there. Actually, you have to sort of really pull at it, but obviously it depends on how tight you do it, so try and do it as tight as you can. So there you have some nice little Christmas treats that you can make easily to put in somebody's little stocking. I hope you've enjoyed that. I shall be doing other tutorials with this suite as well, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye.